Welcome to our next lesson to do with the Easter story, and this is Judas part 2. Now last lesson we were thinking about Judas and what it was that he did. He betrayed Jesus, and we looked at the fact that betray means to let someone down and to break apart a friendship. And we looked at part of the Easter story and how Judas did that. Well, today we're going to continue to think about Judas and about why he betrayed Jesus. Now first of all, I've got a quick question for you. Have you ever been on a roller coaster? How did you feel when you were on it? Or have you known other people that have gone on roller coasters, and how do you imagine they felt? Think of all the different feelings that you go through when you're sitting on one of those rides. Now the truth is, I love roller coasters. The faster, the higher, the more turns, the better. I love them. And the reason why I love them is because you get to feel so many different things. Like waiting in that queue that can last for hours. You get more and more nervous and worried and frightened and excited all at the same time. And then when you're actually sitting on the ride itself, just before it sets off, there's all those feelings in your tummy that you just can't wait to go through. And then when you're actually whooshing through the air and spinning and dropping, rising, all those things, why, you get to feel so many different feelings. The excitement, the thrill, the fun of it, the fear and the confusion as to where you're at, whether you're upside down or the right way round. And our feelings can go like that in amongst a day. We can start off the day feeling worried or anxious or not quite feeling settled. And then we might have lots of times where we're really excited and lovely things happen. And other times when we're feeling lost or sad or confused or frightened or angry or frustrated. We can feel all those things, all those feelings in a day. Well, the thing is that Judas also went through all different feelings when he was following Jesus. You see, Jesus chose Judas to be one of his disciples, one of his closest friends, one of the group of 12. And wherever Jesus went, so did Judas. Now, Judas was someone who couldn't wait for things to change. You see, in those days, in that country, the people who were in charge were the Roman rulers. And they were fearsome, and they were strong. And they were people who would absolutely make sure that everyone was doing the right thing and also demand money from people. And Judas, he didn't think it was right. He didn't want other people ruling his country, telling him what he should and shouldn't do and demanding money and being really quite terrible. And so he was waiting for a new king. And when he met Jesus, he thought this was it. Jesus is going to be the new ruler, the new king who's going to take over. And when Jesus started speaking, Jesus was talking about a kingdom and being a ruler, a king of nations. And Judas was so excited that Jesus was going to be the one to destroy all of the Romans and take over. And that Judas was one of his friends. And he was so excited. But as time went on, as Judas watched Jesus and was with him as Jesus did so many miracles, he started to get confused. You see, Jesus was talking about a kingdom and a ruler, but instead of it being a kingdom that destroys others, he was talking about coming and saving them, not destroying them. And even one time when someone came up to Jesus to try and trick him, he held up a coin and said to Jesus, "Should we pay taxes to the ruler, to Caesar?" That's the Roman ruler. And Judas would have definitely thought that Jesus was going to say, "No, you shouldn't pay anything to the Roman ruler. You shouldn't pay anything to Caesar." But instead, Jesus took the coin and looked at it and said to the people around him, "Whose face is on it?" And then when they looked, they saw it had the Roman ruler Caesar's face. And Jesus said, "Well, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to God what belongs to God." That wasn't the kind of answer that Judas wanted to hear. That didn't sound like a ruler was going to come and destroy the Romans. In fact, it sounded like Jesus was saying that they should pay their taxes. And Judas, he was the one that held the money bag and looked after the treasury, looked after the money for the group. And yet Jesus was saying to pay taxes. He got really confused. And then as time went on, Jesus was healing and preaching and talking about God's kingdom being one of love and kindness and goodness, and not to destroy but to bring life. And over time, Judas's heart began to change. It began to change towards Jesus. Instead of thinking he was the king and he was going to come in and take over and do all the things that Judas wanted, Jesus was talking about being a king in a very different way, a loving and kind and the almighty king. What did that mean? And I wonder what it would be like if we were to plot Judas's feelings a bit like a roller coaster. What would the highs be, where he gets really excited and can't wait to see what Jesus would do? And what will be the turns when Judas gets confused and worried? And what will be the dips when he decides that he's going to go the different way to Jesus? And would he end up going backwards? Or what would he do? I wonder what a roller coaster of Judas's feelings would look like. Well, we're going to think about that today. We're going to think about different moments of the story in Easter, at different points when Judas was there watching Jesus and how he was feeling. And then we're going to do something called a monologue. Now, a monologue is when one person is talking out loud the thoughts in their head. You know, we all have thoughts in our heads, don't we? But can you imagine if we could hear what it was that someone was thinking? What if we could hear what Judas was thinking at different points along the story? Well, I'd love for us to explore that and to see what Judas would be doing. We were there, right in the middle of the temple, and all these people came up to try and trick Jesus, asking him whether we should pay taxes or not. And then Jesus gets this coin and tells them to look at it. Whose face is on it? Well, of course it's Caesar's. And then he says, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to God what belongs to God. But how can he say that? Isn't he meant to be the one coming to destroy the Romans, coming to destroy Caesar? How can he then say that we should pay taxes to him? I just don't get it. I'm so confused. Surely Jesus was going to come in and destroy every single ruler, not pay for them. And what does it mean, give to God what belongs to God? What belongs to God? What can I give to him? I just don't understand. I might have to watch him a little bit closer and see whether his heart's turning away from being the king to destroy everyone, or whether he's actually turning into someone who loves the Roman rulers. So there's an example of what Judas might have been feeling as part of the Easter story. And we remember too, don't we, that we all have different feelings. Different feelings about our school day, different feelings about our friends, different feelings from the start of the day to the end, from the start of the week to the end. We can have so many different feelings. But Judas's went from loving and following and being excited about Jesus to ending up betraying him and having him arrested. And in fact, as we look further on in the story, when Judas sees that Jesus is going to be killed and he's actually going to go on the cross, when he realises that he'd done the wrong thing, and it's very sad for him to realise that. He'd made the wrong decision. He decided that Jesus didn't deserve to live, which is why he had him arrested. There are so many different feelings within that story, and so many different feelings that we can have. But it's also good to remember that different feelings, well, we all have different feelings, and that's right and proper, and that's how we're made to be. But when our bad feelings make us do bad things, well, then we need to stop and reflect and think, what could I do that was right instead? So I wonder if there are things that we know that we've done that's not been right, that's not been the right way and the friendly way of doing things. And how can we stop doing them and start doing the right things instead? So that comes to the end of our time of thinking about Judas. And next time we're going to be thinking about something else to do with our Easter story and finding out about another key character. Roller coaster.
Think about the different feelings that Judas had in the Easter story. Draw a roller coaster track with highs and lows, twists and turns. Next to each section, write down how Judas was feeling and at what part of the story. See the next slide. Monologue. Choose a part of the Easter story from last lesson. How was Judas feeling? What was he thinking about Jesus at that part of the story? Act out a monologue. You can wear a tea towel and record it if you wish, or just act it out to your family. Emojis. How are you feeling right now? Take time to think about your emotions. Are you feeling happy, excited, sad, worried, confused, okay, angry, or something else? Draw emojis for all the emotions you have felt today. Next to each one, write down why you felt that way. Chat to an adult about them. Can you complete these tasks?